As Kay steps away from Sapper Morton's farm, his spinner carves a path through the endless fields of synthetic crops, each precisely arranged as if by a machine mind. The sky remains a flat gray canvas, obscuring any sense of time or direction. Back in the cockpit, Kay enters the coordinates Joy provided into the system, and the vehicle rises back into the perpetual dusk. A digital map displays a course toward the ruined husk of what was once San Diego, tracing a path over desolate, empty terrain. The radio squawks with a reminder from headquarters for a routine baseline test, something he's clearly not in the mood for as he ignores it. Instead, he begins the long, monotonous trek back to the sprawling metropolis of Los Angeles. Inside his apartment, the muted glow of neon signs paints streaks of color across the dingy interior. Kay removes his damp, weathered jacket and places it on the worn couch. He pulls a bowl and spoon from a cabinet, assembling a meager meal of protein and grain. As he starts to eat, Joy flickers into existence, her holographic form glowing against the drab surroundings. She asks him about his day, concern etched on her features. Kay describes the farm, the maggots, the violent encounter, and the chilling revelation that a replicant had somehow given birth. Joy listens intently, her projected presence offering a warmth that transcends her digital nature. She knows what such discoveries mean to his fragile state of mind. To lighten the mood, Joy plays some music and takes on a new outfit as she approaches him for a dance. Kay declines, prompting her to gently ask him to listen to her memory. What Joy would later on say is some of the most important music in the world. Later, having taken a cleansing sonic shower, the replicant Kay prepares for an anniversary celebration with Joy. However, on the way, he is waylaid by a visit to headquarters. Deep within the labyrinthine structure of the Wallace Corporation, Kay accompanies Lieutenant Joshi down a long corridor. The walls are a uniform beige color, only broken by evenly spaced slits letting in streaks of light. As they walk, they discuss the revelation about the replicant pregnancy and Kay's involvement. Joshi expresses concern that if the information about replicants reproducing becomes public, it could shatter the fragile peace between humans and replicants. She trusts Kay to handle this sensitive case with discretion, knowing the fate of society rests on his decisions. They arrive at a secure vault, a sterile chamber lined with rows of glowing orbs. These are memory archives containing vast repositories of digital experiences. The archivist, a pale, slender woman, greets them with an almost unsettlingly calm demeanor. She explains that all memories are carefully cataloged and stored within these crystalline spheres. Joshi requests access to the memories associated with the deceased replicant, Rachel. Kay watches intently as the archivist retrieves a specific orb, examining it with gloved hands. She then connects it to a holographic projector, filling the chamber with spectral images. Flickering scenes play out, a verdant forest, a rustic cabin, and a familiar figure standing in its doorway, Deckard. These memories paint a vivid picture, and Kay studies them, recognizing elements from his own implanted memory. Joshi emphasizes that their purpose isn't simply solving a crime, but they are also testing if replicants can have real memories. As Kay observes, he picks out the tune of "Can't Help Falling in Love." The emotion is all too real for him. As the memories reach a crucial point, they abruptly corrupt and dissolve into static. All that is left is an image of a single, desolate tree. The archivist calmly explains that the degradation is a result of the system's encryption methods, preserving only the most basic elements and the baseline test. Joshi voices her concern, highlighting that data of such an important nature should have been better preserved. Kay, however, is lost in thought, trying to piece together the fragments he has seen. He realizes that the memory he had of himself as a child playing with a wooden horse is actually Rachel's memory, causing him to question the very foundations of his existence. Emerging back into the rainy streets of Los Angeles, the revelations from the Wallace Corporation hang heavy in the air. Kay is dropped off at a familiar noodle bar. As he eats, Kay is approached by a call girl who seems to recognize him. He quickly deflects her attention, making his way back to his apartment. The neon lights cast long shadows as he steps back inside, and in the subdued light of his home, the holographic Joy materializes, eager to hear about his day. She asks Kay what's on his mind, and Kay tells her that he doesn't think the memory is his. Joy, sensing his turmoil, offers him a comforting touch, attempting to make him forget the world and its troubles. He asks her what she thinks it means, and Joy consoles him that these were Rachel's memories, and perhaps that means that he is special. In an attempt to dispel his fears, Joy takes on the physical form of a real girl and invites him to connect their interface for the first time. It works, with Joy and Kay experiencing the physical sensation of warmth and touch with each other. He's taken it upon himself to hunt down this lead from the recycler, making his way back to his spinner. The pouring snow reflects back his haunted expression. He punches in coordinates and is soon airborne, rocketing back out over the scrap fields. The landscape sprawls out before him, a desolation of discarded materials and crumbling structures beneath the heavy, toxic sky. Soon, Kay has arrived at his next destination, an old, abandoned orphanage deep in the heart of the wastelands. The building is a skeletal ruin, stripped bare and riddled with decay, eerily populated by pale, shaved-headed children eking out a meager existence, scavenging amongst the junk. As Kay enters the orphanage, he passes through a mess hall where the children sit at long tables, meticulously stripping down old computer components and circuit boards to retrieve valuable materials. They all pause, turning to stare at him with vacant eyes. Kay approaches the head of this orphanage, a wizened character in a tattered robe. The man speaks with a disturbing smile, boasting that he keeps his wards occupied, teaching them the necessary skills to survive in this desolated world. As he speaks, one of the children stops working, overcome by exhaustion. The robed man violently pulls her away, declaring he does not need those that cannot work. "If you ain't building, you're just taking space," he says to Kay. Kay questions the man about the small wooden horse he found at Sapper Morton's farm. The man recalls a child bringing such a toy with him some 30 years before, speaking of an off-world paradise beyond their reach. Kay produces the broken pieces found at Morton's, and the man agrees to identify its unique ID mark if Kay pays his price. Eddie hands over a package. A commotion then arises among the children. The robed man shouts that they must work or be sent outside as Kay kneels down and carefully sifts through the muddy earth beneath one of the old sleeping cots. After a moment, he exhumes a small container filled with old bones. Kay presents the bones to the man, inquiring if he recognizes the sequence marked on them. Looking at Kay with a sneer, the man explains that the sequence identifies the child and allows him to trace the child's flight path. For that information, Kay must pay him a further price. "You cannot buy what I tell you with money," he taunts, "but instead with that." The overseer then points menacingly at Kay's spinner. Back in his ab, Joy tries once again to comfort Kay, who has now lost all hope. He's convinced he is not special. The horse was from the orphanage, so he clearly had Rachel's memory implanted in him. Joy then asks to see the serial number on the wooden horse. Kay is hesitant and then asks, "What do you want to know it for?" Joy continues, "Perhaps there is a copy. Let me see." Eventually, Kay is convinced and relents. Joy then reveals that the code is not Rachel's, but it is a code with a match, and she proceeds to give Kay some coordinates. Kay asks where they lead, and Joy responds, "To what you want." At those coordinates, Kay finds what remains of Las Vegas. It's now a sprawling ghost town consumed by sand dunes, bathed in an eerie orange glow. Amidst the desolation, Kay comes across remnants of a once grand hotel and casino, now eerily silent and abandoned. He continues his search, weaving through the skeletal structures and dunes until he reaches what appears to be an abandoned casino, the Homage Lounge. Venturing inside, Kay discovers that time has stood still, but decay and rot have begun their gruesome work. Inside, a hologram performance featuring Elvis Presley continues to loop endlessly, a ghost show for an absent audience, and under its flickering lights, Kay finds Deckard. With a gun trained on Kay, Deckard demands the truth. Kay explains his investigation, his search for the child, and the evidence pointing toward Rachel. Deckard is dubious, stating that Rachel was a precious memory he did everything to protect. A fierce hand-to-hand combat ensues, sending tables and holographic dancers flying. After a fierce beating, Deckard falls. An injured Kay has proven himself capable, and a weary Deckard finally concedes. His goal was to simply protect the baby from prying eyes. Protecting a little bit of true reality was all that mattered to him in this world. Deckard then reveals that he sent the child away to a free group, but knows nothing more. Just then, Love's men crash through the ceiling, putting a final end to Kay's search and to Deckard as well. A fierce battle erupts, explosions tearing through what is left of the structure, but the assassins are ultimately defeated. They collapse to the ground, and Love delivers the final blow, leaving him for dead as she captures Deckard. As the storm continues to rage, Kay, severely wounded, crawls to his downed spinner. The machine limps through the ruins before finally taking off into the orange abyss. Back at headquarters, the Lap-D is in complete darkness due to another outage, but Joy is able to access files related to Deckard. She discovers that Deckard has a daughter who is also connected to Tyrell and determines her whereabouts. Despite her desperate plea to Kay to stay, Joy knows what Kay intends to do next and, as such, does her best to help. The data that she is able to acquire from Tyrell comes with a photo from a file. It may provide Deckard with a reference once the inevitable meeting occurs. Meanwhile, high above in the golden smog, Love delivers Deckard to Wallace, his captive, to use as he sees fit. Wallace immediately begins his interrogation in a room where a watery hallucination dances across the floor and walls. Deckard is presented with a perfect copy of Rachel, a holographic reconstruction so realistic that Deckard's memories are now being put to a true test. Wallace attempts to manipulate Deckard by questioning his memories, implying that even his feelings for Rachel might have been implanted. To further confuse him, Wallace presents another Rachel, a younger model, hoping to break Deckard's resolve. But before any further psychological games can be played, Deckard is rescued by Love, who swiftly kills the new Rachel, stating that she can never be Rachel. Love brings Deckard back to the snowy rooftop, where she proceeds to beat him mercilessly in the pouring rain. As the fight reaches its peak, Kay arrives, shooting down Love's ship, which crashes onto the rooftop, finally killing her. Kay finds Deckard battered and bruised but alive. Seeing that Deckard is safe, Kay takes him to the Stelline orphanage, where Dr. Anna Stelline, a memory maker, resides in a sterile, white environment. Kay knows that she is Deckard's daughter and the miracle child. Kay has fulfilled his purpose. Deckard approaches Anna, and Kay leaves them to reunite. As snow gently falls, Kay lies down on the steps outside, finally at peace, and passes away. In the end, the film offers no definitive answers about Kay's origins or his true nature. He may have been a replicant, a human, or something in between, but what truly mattered was his capacity for empathy, love, and sacrifice. He defied his programming, chose to do the right thing, and in doing so, transcended his artificial existence. He died a hero, a better man than most ever could be. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay awesome, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more amazing content.